Oh, storytellers, welcome back. Today is Tuesday. I hope your elapsed time pictures turned out just great from yesterday. So, today I have been working hard on knowing, we have been working hard on knowing what storytellers should add to their writing and illustrations. We've talked about detailed pictures, we've talked about emotions, capital letters. We've talked about spaces between your letter or words and punctuation, like periods at the end of a sentence. But today we're going to talk about something called adding on. That's right. What happens if you look at a story and realize, hey, wait a minute, I could have added more to make that story better. So today we're going to take a look at one of Mrs. Hofer's stories that I wrote a long time ago this year. And we're going to see if I can add on to it to make it a little bit better. Okay. So first, let me share with you. I did it with a pencil this day, so it's a little harder to see. But I said we went on a trail in the mountains, and I have two people, Mr. Hofer and Mrs. Hofer, and I have the mountains, which they look kind of small compared to us, and I have the sun. And I did have time to label that day. But yesterday we talked about that elapsed time, and I really don't show a beginning or a middle or an end. It's kind of just telling you what we did. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a little bit of a couple of lines. And I'm going to make this one the beginning, this one the middle. And over here, I'm going to squeeze in the end. So I have the beginning, the middle, and the end. And so I'm going to have to draw a really small picture over here to add on. Okay, so when we got there, we were pretty happy. We saw the mountain is really pretty and it was really big. And then in the middle of the story, we climbed that mountain and we climbed it and we climbed it and we climbed it. And guess what? So I'm going to draw some people on the mountain. And we were tired. So it wasn't that we were sad, but boy, were we tired. So we were kind of, I'm not really sure what you would say, what my face might look like. So I just kind of drew. I didn't put a smiley face on me. It's not really a sad face, but boy, we were working. So I'll put both of us on the mountain. So we had to walk and climb and walk and climb and walk and climb and walk and climb the whole time. We were so tired. Yeah. And we're getting kind of sweaty. Yeah. And then at the end of the story, we made it back down the mountain. And then we were pretty happy. We were glad that we had gone on the mountain. So I'll just draw us over here real quick. Okay. So we have the beginning when we went to the mountain, and then we climbed the mountain, and then at the end, we were happy that had made it to the top and back. It felt pretty good. So now I added on to my illustrations, but I noticed I really only wrote one sentence. I could write another sentence. I could add on by writing another sentence about my story. So it says we went on a trail in the mountains, so that's here. And then I'm going to put that we were really tired. Okay, so let's count how many words that is. We were really tired. That's 4 words. So my first word is a sight word, and I'm going to use a marker so you can see. So the sight word was we. Now remember, when I write the word we, I have to write it with let's see, I got to find where my camera is. I'm not very good at this. A capital W. We. And then were. Were starts the same as we. Went. But I have to leave a space. Were. I hear an R. We were really, now sometimes kids think that that starts with a W, but rat, yeah, it starts with an R. Eel, really tired. Whew, we were really tired. What does tired start with? And I'm running out of space. I'll have to come down here. Tired. We were really tired. And then the end. So when you finish a page, you always want to go back and see if you can make it better. And you want to see if you have, maybe you could add some elapsed time or beginning, middle, and end. I have something that we're going to use to help us add on or make our writing better. It's called a rubric. And on this rubric, you can, I put mine in the dry erase sleeve. That way I can write on it with a dry erase marker, and then I can erase it and I can reuse the same one. So if you have a dry erase pocket and you take your rubric and you put it inside, and then we can go through and see. So I want you to think about your writing and your storytelling and answer these questions. The first one says, I can show writing stamina. Do you remember what stamina means? Stamina means that you can do something for a long time, even if it's hard. So kind of like perseverance a little bit, but it's also about doing it for a long time. So when you were writing, and so when you have time to write, I want you to think, did you keep writing and keep your stamina all of the time, which is a thumbs up, some of the time, which is a sideways thumb, or none of the time, which is a thumbs down? So when you were writing, did you just not want to get started and you just didn't really work on it very hard at all? Then you would give yourself a thumbs down. Hopefully that is not the case. If when you were writing, you kept writing and writing, and even when it got hard, you still kept working on it, then you would give yourselves a thumbs up, because that means you did it all the time. But if while you were writing, sometimes you were working and sometimes you weren't, then you want to give yourself the sideways thumb. So I'm going to mark. So here Mrs. Hofer gave herself, you could do a check mark or an X, and I gave myself a thumbs up. Now it says I can use my writing tools. Now, do you remember you have some tools? You have an ABC chart. You have, some of you might have a writing folder that has tools in it. You have your sight words chart, some color words you could use. So when you were writing, did you refer to your tools to help you? Maybe you looked around the room. Maybe you have words up at home and you know what they are, and so you use those to help you spell or things like that. So did you use your tools? Did you use them all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time? Okay. All right. Well, Mrs. Hofer is going to give me a sideways thumb. I didn't always use my tools. Okay. Then the next part says, I can tell a story using a combination of detailed pictures and a simple sentence. So, did Mrs. Hofer make a detailed picture of her story? Yeah, I think I did. All of the time, some of the time, or none of the time. Okay. So if you just scribbled, that would be a none of the time. But if you took your time and really made sure that you added some details to your pictures and you wrote a sentence, then you can give yourself a all of the time. Or maybe you did a picture but no sentence, or you did a sentence but your picture wasn't that good, then you can do some of the time. Our next one says, I can use mechanics. Remember our wrench and our baseball cap? In stories, using spacings, capitals, and periods. So you want to go back and look at your writing, and you want to say, oh, did I start? So use your wrench. Did I start with a capital? Did I put spaces between my words? Did I use a period at the end of my sentences? And did you do that all the time and use lowercase letters the rest of the time? Okay. Mrs. Hofer did. And here's a really important one that sometimes kids forget. But the last one is, can you go back and read your story? So I can retell my story. So when you go back and look, like 2 days later, 3 days later, can you remember what your story was about? Can you reread it? Can you tell someone what you were trying the story you were trying to draw and write? That's really important. As a matter of fact, that's one of the most important things, is that you're able to retell your story. So if all of the time you can look at your papers and remember what you were writing, or the one you're looking at, if you can remember what it said and what the story was, then you can give yourself a thumbs up. If sometimes you kind of forget what it was supposed to be about, a sideways thumb, or if you don't remember, then a thumbs down. Okay, but you're going to keep this rubric, and you can use this all the time when we're doing our writing. Okay, so practice your writing, practice telling your stories, and practice using your rubric and adding on to make it better. So if, when you were doing this mechanics about spaces, capitals, and periods, and you're like, uh-oh, you know what, you could fix it. And then if you had like some of the time, but you're like, wait a minute, I can fix it, then you can fix it and then mark the thumbs up. Okay, so you can make it better by using your rubric. Okay, well, have a good day, and I will see you tomorrow.